Thank you so much for joining us today. There is so much going on in the world out there, and we're so grateful that you've made time to be here with us today. And we're going to be discussing a really consequential topic for every stakeholder on a construction project: pre-construction. Now, this is where you lay the foundation for project success. And fortunately, technology can play a central role in accelerating your team. Now, my name's Aaron Lober, and I'm going to be coming to you from Santa Barbara, California. I'm going to be your host for today's session. Now, before we get started, I'd like to take a moment to remind you that throughout Groundbreak, we're going to be sharing some cool new features that aren't yet generally available. So please, as you listen to our stories, make sure that you're making purchasing decisions based on what is available today. And you can read the full text of this slide on our website. So without any other preamble, let's begin. Now, today, we'll be talking with a super-powered electrical contractor joining us from Eastern Canada, Grimard, through how they are leveraging Procore pre-construction technologies to accelerate their entire business. And I'll formally be introducing our speaker, Sébastien Grimard, in just a moment. But first, it's our goal together to ensure everyone walks away with something that they can apply to their business immediately. So, with all of the administrative stuff behind us now, I think it's best we start our discussion with a question. Why is it so difficult to control cost once a project breaks ground? Well, because the primary levers of profitability and predictability actually live in pre-construction. So pre-construction costs typically range between 1% to 3% of the total project value. That's a pretty hefty investment. Now, the reason so many of you and your peers are willing to make that investment is because the downstream impact of poor planning and poor coordination at this early phase can really hamstring a project before you ever set foot on site. And it doesn't matter what role you play in a construction project. Everyone benefits from more efficient planning, more collaborative design, and more accurate estimating, as well as more competitive bidding. And like I said, executing in pre-construction is a great way to prevent losses downstream. Unfortunately, the inverse is also true. If your team fumbles here, it's going to impact you later on. Now, in 2018, there were over 500 billion in losses associated with rework, and about half of that is related to poor communication or poor project data. Now, the handoff between pre-construction and construction teams is famously rocky, and everyone knows that without the right tools, you're risking seriously consequential data loss. And if something gets missed in the pre-construction to construction handoff, someone is coming out of pocket, and it's probably not the project owner. So it's incredibly important that your pre-con and your construction teams stay coordinated and that their handoffs are efficient. And that's going to require the right tools. Trying to plan effectively while winning profitable work with a disconnected system is an absolute nightmare. Now, if you doubt that or you don't believe me, I invite you to have a conversation with one of your estimators about whether or not they're rock solid confident in all your projects meeting financial plan today. Now, fortunately, the Procore platform is perfectly equipped to connect all the people and tools that you use to manage pre-construction with a collection of products designed to service your pre-construction workflows and empower your teams to get the job done. So, as I said earlier, we have with us a representative from one of our favorite customers, Grimard. That's Executive Vice President Sébastien Grimard. Now, Sébastien, thanks so much for being here and agreeing to share your story with us.
Aaron, thanks for having me. I'm really excited to be with you here at Groundbreak.
I really can't thank you enough, my friend. But let's start here. So, tell me a little bit about your background. You've been with Grimard for 14 years now, formally. What really led you into the construction industry?
Well, Aaron, as you can imagine, I grew up in a family business environment, of course. So entrepreneurship was really at the family table. If I count all summers spent working at the shop when I was younger, obviously, I'd say I've been more than 30 years with this company. So After my engineering degree, I started a career in management consulting. I had to work in multiple businesses, including telecom, energy, natural resources, banking, information systems. I really believe that this gave me a very good perspective on multiple practices. As you can imagine, there are some goods and some bads. Also, this experience made me realize the importance of very good processes to achieve performance. But after 8 years, I joined back the family business to work with my uncle. I've really always liked to develop projects and execute them. So continue developing the business was just a natural for me. I would say it's more like a mission than a job. It also started with my grandparents. They created the company back in 1944. So my grandfather was an electrician by trade, and my grandmother was a manager by nature. The company evolved through big industrial and infrastructure projects. Lately, we went through a few critical moments, namely transition towards working by processes, application of a more structured business model. And recently, as a lot of you guys we took the COVID operations shutdown as an opportunity to digitalize our operations. At a glance, Grimard employs more than 400 employees. We're located in 3 offices located in Quebec. We're really a project company offering specialized construction services, maintenance, and manufacturing for the industrial, energy, and infrastructure markets. We work on major infrastructure industrial projects, basically. We also design and manufacture equipment, and we serve clients across Canada. That's what we do. For more than 75 years, Grimard has been carrying out prestigious projects. I really like to think that we became a local leader in the field. My grandparents, father, and uncles grew the business by performing on large industrial projects such as aluminum smelters, sawmills, mining. Our credibility is founded on high-level expertise, synergy, and cooperation throughout our different divisions. We built an efficient operational framework that we spent a great deal of energy to keep improving. This is the key, I think, as more recently we've been involved on major infrastructure projects like new bridges, light rail train, tunnels. Our commitment to our client is a key value, along with teamwork, because we have to deliver on over 400 projects annually. As you can imagine, some are small, some are large.
That's a lot of work. You've clearly had decades of watching your family succeed in this business. So it's a really interesting view to construction as an industry and to running a small business, like Grimard. I'm wondering, from your perspective, what has really changed in the industry since you started, and what types of new challenges are you confronting today that you might not have been a decade ago?
Yeah, it's a pretty good question, Aaron, because since I joined the company 14 years ago, a lot has changed. So let's talk about that because part of our Procore journey is about change. I'd say our first challenge is complexity. We're involved into much more complex projects involving multiple stakeholders. Risk management and planning is more important than ever. We had to adapt project management techniques and processes. Not to say that we're welcoming new generations in the industry, just like myself. So focus on our people is really important for Grimard. Change can be hard on people, very hard on people, and resistance to change is always there. My uncle is always saying, you got to put yourself in your people's shoes and ask yourself, what's in it for me? I'd say our second challenge is dependency on multiple stakeholders. This requires real-time communication. More agility is also needed. In this fast environment, you need good processes and standards. Otherwise, gaps are created, and bigger projects obviously lead to bigger risk. As for people, right now, we feel that labor shortage is impacting our industry big time. I'd say another challenge, which may be even more actual in the construction industry, is very slow progression towards digitalization. By comparison, manufacturing made the move much earlier. It's always surprising that even some of the world's largest EPCM firms are still using paper and Excel spreadsheets to manage projects. Clients are demanding more details, they're lifting quality requirements, and all that for the same cost, obviously. This is putting a lot of pressure on our people, on engineering companies, construction companies, just like ourselves, system, and our people. I always envision working streamlined processes from within an integrated platform. At Grimard, we even developed an internal platform to document our processes mainly back in 2017. But then March 2020 happened. Coronavirus hit us all. I'm telling you, Aaron, we had to make a split-second business decision that might impact our business in a big way. We either shut down the business during COVID or took opportunity to make a move and implement our platform with our people that just had their schedule free, basically. How many times have you had all of your key people with empty agenda? The answer is never. That never happens. And I hope this will never happen in the future. I had my eyes on Procore for a little while back then. I'll always be grateful to my uncle, who's our company's president, for trusting, sharing this vision, and embarking on this huge project. As I said earlier, Aaron, if we wanted to support our growth, the first step was to document our processes. As one once told me, we gotta stop reinventing the wheel. This wasn't really exciting to do and took a couple of years, but I believe this was the cornerstone from which continuous improvement can happen. This highlighted another challenge. This is really common for many small and medium businesses. Information lies in people's head. You then rely on a few key people with no backup. That's a big risk. On top of this challenge, I could also talk about these pain factors. Difficulty in transmitting information to the project, manual and paperwork, work in silos, no feedback from execution back to estimating. To fix these all at once, we're working from the very start of our business process, which is obviously estimating. Aaron, when I told you about how we made our move to Procore during COVID shutdown, what I didn't tell you is that we had a second project going. We started looking for digital estimation solution. We chose a tool called Esticon. One major criteria was the possibility to integrate this estimation platform with our project platform, which is Procore. Of course, I guess we made the right move because less than a year after our implementation, well, guess what? Procore bought Esticon. Now I'll refer to it as Procore Estimating.
I'm certainly glad to hear you say that. Grimard was one of the early adopters of Procore Estimating. So I'm really curious, how were you thinking about your needs or requirements when you made the decision to go with Esticom initially? And, have those changed at all over time?
Well, not really. Speed was one key thing, and speed is is a key thing today as well. Aaron, as you know, everything has to be fast and accurate. Information flows constantly and rapidly, and this is even more true today. You can take 3 days to open a bid project, print drawings, and manually track all changes. That's not true anymore. A client wants better visibility with details. And what we want as a business operator, what we want is accurate estimation data. And we want it back with execution actuals and current material cost. Basically, what we want is to close the loop between execution back to estimation. And beyond that, I think there are 4 key requirements. For us, an efficient estimating platform is a solution that is available during construction. It comes with historical actual, making future estimate more accurate. It is connected to financials, making the data and work process integrated. Also, it comes with all the project information passed between pre-con and construction teams without data loss or delay. Aaron, I dream of a day when there will be no more double data entry.
As do I, certainly, my friend. I hope we're rapidly approaching that point. But I want to say again, Sébastien, thank you so much for doing this with us. We're very excited that Procore Estimating is part of your journey. I'm very excited for the future of this product, and I hope the folks who joined us on the line are as well. Let me ask you one more question before we go any further, however. What advice would you share with contractors who are looking to accelerate their businesses with a pre-construction solution or an estimating solution like the ones that we've been talking about here?
That's a good one, Aaron. We could discuss hours on lessons that we learn, but I know I don't have hours, so I'll be brief. In summary, first of all, define your business needs. Do not go with the flavor of the day. Second, have a dedicated team to support and coordinate this project. This team will also document process and methods as they go. Also, and this is important, don't neglect a good change management strategy. Training and support are mission critical. Another thing, don't bother to change everything just for the fun of it. What works is fine. Think about interfacing between new and legacy platforms when possible. Finally, I'd say, is it easy? Not at all. Is it worth it? Absolutely, and that's why we keep working on that, Aaron, and we will keep working on that later on.
Sincerely, thank you so much, Sebastian. It's been a real pleasure getting to learn more about Grimard. I expect there are plenty of folks in our audience who are going to try to emulate your team's success. But, I think it's now time for us to dive into the tool itself to show folks how Procore estimating actually looks in action. The connection between estimating, takeoff, financials, and many other tools is pretty cool. So that's what we're going to do. Let's dive into a demo to check it out.
In this guided tour, I'm going to walk you through an overview of Procore's all-in-one takeoff and estimating system. We'll demonstrate how to perform a quantity takeoff, build an estimate, customer-facing quote, and lastly, turn your estimate into a trackable project budget within Procore Financials. Let's start with some basic navigation and controls. At the top of the screen, we can navigate between plan sheets by clicking the left and right arrows to turn page by page, or you can search by the sheet name to quickly jump to a desired location. Procore conveniently renames each individual sheet and organizes by division. On the right of the screen, we have our markup menu with tools for callouts, annotations, and clouding areas of a drawing. And lastly, the ability to set a plan scale using architectural, civil, or by manually calibrating the scale based on a known distance such as a doorway. In this example, we're going to set our scale to 1/4 inch equals a foot. On the drawing, you can pan the screen by clicking and holding to move the screen around, and you can zoom in and out using your mouse wheel. We can start a takeoff by selecting one of our pre-built items from the takeoff menu over to the left. Procore includes many out-of-the-box parts and assemblies, and you can build your own customized database. In our example, I'm going to perform a takeoff using the already created 12-foot wall takeoff for paint and texture. Begin by clicking the takeoff name, and you'll notice the mouse cursor turns to a crosshair. Now we're going to single click to begin our measurement and trace our way along the wall using single clicks to turn and double clicks to stop the measurement once it's complete. If you make a mistake while performing the takeoff, you can always hit the backspace key to remove one segment at a time to make corrections. Now that we've got our linear measurement, let's adjust the height to get the square foot coverage area. Again, in this example, the walls are 12 feet tall, so we can add a 12 here, and just like that, we have our coverage area for the walls. Now let's do a quick takeoff of the stained concrete flooring. Just like a linear measurement, you'll use a single click to begin the measurement and single clicks to make turns. You can hold down the shift key to maintain straight lines and turn on 45s and 90s, and you'll double click to end the measurement. On the area takeoffs, we have several adjustable variables like height, weight per square foot or yards, and other parameters. Now let's navigate over to the electrical lighting plans and count some light fixtures for the project. Once again, click the name of the takeoff, and we can start manually counting immediately. You can do this by hovering your mouse over and clicking to highlight an item. In this example, there are quite a few light fixtures, so I'm going to leverage our auto count feature, which will automatically count the selected item across multiple plans. You can do this by clicking the Auto Count button and then drawing a rectangle around the symbol you would like to search for and count. I'm going to only search the current plan in this example. Click Start to begin the process and give it a few seconds to run, and it'll return your results. Now you can browse through the results and select or deselect any items that are applicable and click Save. Another great time saver is the Plan Comparison tool, which allows you to overlay a revised drawing on top of an existing drawing to see what is different. Anything that's been removed shows up red, and any additions show up green. This makes estimating revisions simple and improves the accuracy and speed of your takeoff. Once you've compared the plans and added and deleted items that have changed, we can move all of our takeoffs over to the new plan set and save this as a new estimate revision. Now that we've finished our takeoffs, let's jump over to the Estimating tab and build out our estimated cost of the project. Because takeoff and estimating are integrated, our takeoff quantities flow over to estimating automatically. Here you can see the adjustable quantities, item cost, and labor rates in blue with our extensions to the right in black. You can adjust any item in blue and the extensions automatically update. In addition to adjusting quantities and cost, you can readjust the groups by dragging and dropping the items into a group and then appropriately renaming the group. And you can add items directly from the database that were not added on the takeoff screen. As we scroll down the screen below the takeoff section, we have our summary section where the project costs are summarized and broken out by cost type. So for example, labor, material, and equipment. And here you can see the total labor hours for the project, which gets multiplied by our composite crew rate, which is a crew average with burden and gives us the estimated labor cost for the project. Next to each cost type, we can adjust the profit markup, and below you can see the blended average for the project as a whole. Below the subtotals, we can adjust our overhead percentage, taxes, bonding, and even include custom adjustments based on your company preferences. Now that we have our base estimate, let's add language around the scope of work, inclusions, exclusions, and any special notes like billing terms. These details will show up on your customer-facing bid, and this information can be saved and reused on other projects. Most contractors need the ability to modify their estimates in greater detail, and to do so, let's toggle on Detailed Estimating. You'll notice that now we can add item waste, profit markup, labor difficulty, and rate on a per line item basis or the project as a whole, giving you much more flexibility. Now let's review our customer-facing bid by clicking Show Bid. Here you can see your logo, company information, customer details, and the project broken out with as much or as little details as you'd like, with options like lump sum or a more detailed pricing breakout by phase or unit cost by item. Additionally, we have a custom proposal builder that gives you Word-like flexibility to build out and save proposal templates. At the bottom, we have options to download the bid to both PDF, Word, or email directly from within the application. Once we receive a project award, we are now ready to build a project budget. To do so, simply click the three dots in the top right-hand corner and select Export the Budget. And just like that, we have a project budget ready to go with costs broken out by cost code and cost type, making it easy to track the project performance against your budget. I hope this guided tour has been informative, and if you would like to learn more about Procore estimating, please visit Procore.com today.
Wow. Every time I see that in action, I'm reminded of how awesome it is having a fully connected system like this for estimating and takeoff. Now, we're far past the point where anyone wants to handle these tasks manually or manage them in separate systems and take on all the manual data entry required to do that. Fortunately, we're excited to announce that Procore Estimating is officially available for your team today. Whether you're a contractor doing mechanical, electrical, concrete, you name it, or you're a general contractor just trying to estimate your job across multiple scopes of work, Procore Estimating is going to make your team significantly faster and more accurate, allowing you to more effectively manage cost and win work in the process. And look, you wouldn't be the first either. On average, teams who have adopted Procore estimating are able to successfully estimate and bid 3 times the work that they could before bringing on the tool. I'm super excited to announce that not only is the product available for use, but we're also making available today a free 14-day trial of Procore estimating through our website. Now is really this first wave of trials that we're opening up, and spots are limited. So if you're interested, pull out your phone and scan the QR code on the screen. It's only a couple of short steps to sign up, or you can always visit procore.com/estimating later on to register for your free trial. So let's recap, because you've seen and heard a lot in our session today. We've explored how the industry is moving towards more collaborative delivery methods and the pressure that that's applying on firms to connect pre-construction and construction processes. You've heard from one of your groundbreaker peers, Grimard, on how they're applying pre-con tools, specifically estimating within Procore to accelerate their business growth. And you got an up-close and personal look at Procore estimating in action. Now, what I really want to leave everyone with is a strong belief in your own ability to achieve a similar success. Now, this story we've shared with you today is just one of many. Thousands of our customers are leaning on our connected platform to help solve pre-construction problems and better connect pre-construction and construction teams. And you can be one of those too. So on behalf of myself and Sebastian and the rest of the team here at Procore, we want to say thank you again so much for joining us. We hope you have a fantastic time at Groundbreak. Make sure you check out the product sessions coming after ours, and have a great day.